Unspoken tales remained to unfold. When she said the studio was locked due to equipment, I took her word for it. 2 months later, I found myself standing outside that same door, overhearing her whisper to another man, "He's working. I miss you." I chose not to inquire. Inquiring felt like implicating, and I lacked definitive proof. All I had was a voice behind a door and the way she chuckled, laughter common on work calls, people missing their friends. However, I started observing other discrepancies. She started mentioning a follower who left insightful comments. He seemed to grasp her content better than most others. She'd show me his messages. "Look, he truly gets it." I'd peek at her phone screen, extensive paragraphs, flattering words cloaked in guidance. He spoke of her as if she was unique, as if he saw something unseen by others. She called him supportive. I saw it as attention-seeking. One night, she disclosed that she had a collaboration shoot coming up, a local affair. The fellow was commuting from the outskirts to shoot a piece on open relationships. She chuckled as she said it. "Isn't it ironic, considering our discussion about honesty?" I asked if she needed assistance setting up. She declined. He was bringing his own equipment. The following day, I departed for work at 4 and returned at 10. Upon my return, the studio door was closed, and the hallway reeked of an unfamiliar cologne that wasn't hers or mine. I remained silent. An hour later, she emerged, her hair in a disheveled bun, flushed cheeks. She told me the shoot went well. Informed me the guy was excellent on camera. I inquired about his name. She hesitated before stating, "Trevor." I nodded and retired for the night. For that week, I inspected the door twice, attempted the code she had provided months ago. It didn't work. I refrained from inquiring about the code, ignored my own attempts to gain access. Instead, I simply monitored the situation, keeping quiet and continuing my observation. She resumed filming more frequently, 3 times a week, then 4. Every time was when I was at the theater. She sent me texts during those shifts, informing me that the shoot could run late. Returning home, I found the door shut and a soft voice echoing within. An unexpected early arrival, as Tech Week had been postponed, led me to enter earlier than usual. I listened, hearing not conversation but laughter. His was rich, effortless, hers familiar, a tone she once used for me. Remaining in the kitchen, I prepared coffee I lacked desire for. 15 minutes later, the studio door creaked open and she emerged alone. Unaware of my presence at first, she smiled at her phone. Upon noticing me, her smile widened, though it lost its authenticity. "Hey, love, didn't hear you return." Inquiring about the shoot, she replied positively, sharing Trevor's creative suggestions for the channel. She was contemplating a series with him, featuring guest appearances and perhaps a Q&A on contemporary relationships. I nodded approval, and she kissed my cheek before retiring to take a shower, leaving me standing there clutching my untouched coffee, thinking about the lingering cologne and her frequent phone checks. Initially, the studio door would remain ajar. A few days later, I was occupied with post-theater audio editing, working the late shift. My phone signaled an Instagram update, her story. Inside, she was filming at the studio, equipment evident in the backdrop. Her caption read, "Late night shooting, thankful for partners who understand my vision." I checked the time stamp. It had been posted 20 minutes earlier. I was scheduled to be there until midnight. I swiftly left home, not driving dangerously, but with purpose. I informed the stage manager about feeling unwell. He accepted it without query. The apartment was a short 15-minute drive away, yet I made it in 12. Her car was parked in the driveway, along with another one nearby, an older truck bearing auto repair shop decals from 2 neighboring towns. I chose to park off the street. With the engine turned off, I watched. The studio window's light shone and shadows danced within. 2 figures moved close, then apart, and reunited again before disappearing once more. I waited for approximately 20 to 30 minutes. I wasn't keeping track precisely. The front door swung open and a tall man stepped out, his broad shoulders clad in worn jeans. He paused on the porch, glanced back inside, uttered indistinct words before departing. Moments later, she emerged from within, reaching out to touch his arm briefly with an air of familiarity and ease. He climbed into his vehicle, waved, and offered a soft smile that mirrored hers. After he had driven away, I waited another 5 minutes before venturing inside. In the kitchen, she was meticulously cleaning 2 wine glasses. Inquiring about the day's events, she recoiled slightly and admitted to being startled. I learned we obtained excellent footage. Upon asking for the camera, she appeared puzzled, later revealing that it was on a memory card awaiting upload. She seemed annoyed rather than nervous at my inquiry. I nodded and conceded, moving towards the bedroom where she trailed behind, lingering in the doorway as I accused her of acting strangely. She denied this, attributing it to tiredness instead. She gazed at me for a considerable duration, then declared, "You don't have faith in me." I remained silent. She sighed and departed. The studio door shut. I heard the keypad emit beeps. Intervals followed, then the lock clicked. I fetched my phone, navigated to her Instagram, scrolled back through her stories from the last month. That's when I began noticing the pattern. Every collaboration post, every delayed shoot, the dates correlated with the nights. I stayed late at work. And in the background of certain clips, barely discernible, a vehicle parked outside. I started examining her Instagram, saved every story from the previous 6 weeks, analyzed the backdrops, reflections, details. She likely believed no one was observing. The vehicle made an appearance 7 times, same one. I zoomed in on a story she'd posted at sunset. Could almost make out the decal on the door, auto repair shop. 2 towns away. I searched for it online, found the proprietor. Trevor Milligan. His image aligned with the man I'd spotted on the porch. Reviewed our bank account after that. She was withdrawing cash in small increments but consistently $40 here and there. We seldom used cash. Opened a fresh folder on my laptop, started downloading posts, stories, tagged photos, organizing them based on dates and times. Compared this timeline with my work schedule. The pattern was clear. Every instance the truck was visible in the footage, I was at the theater. Every late-night shoot, every collaboration. I wasn't home except tonight. Heard the studio door open, her footsteps. She walked past the bedroom without looking inside. Once the bathroom door shut, I headed to the studio, placing my ear against it. Silence. Tried the old code one last time, no luck. Returned to the living room and waited. She emerged in pajamas, hair loose, sat beside me closely. Still awake. I inquired if she had changed the studio code for security, as people can be suspicious about content creators. She didn't react, nodded, affirmed my concern. "You fret too much." My phone vibrated first once, then twice, thrice. She didn't look. The phone buzzed persistently, but she chose to disregard it. She claimed exhaustion and went to sleep. I waited until her breathing evened out, then returned to my laptop. I scrutinized the photos more closely. One from 3 weeks past caught my attention, coffee in hand, studio window behind, his truck parked not on our street but in our driveway. The timestamp read 2:15. I was at work then. Continuing to scroll, I found a skincare tutorial video featuring her. 2 coffee mugs on the desk, which contradicted her usual afternoon tea preference. Then, a behind-the-scenes story from 10 days back revealed her adjusting the ring light. The camera momentarily panned left, revealing a brown Carhartt jacket on a chair, not mine. The keys hanging from it bore the logo even in low resolution, indicating T & Sons Auto Repair. In a daze, I stared at the screen, realizing he had left his jacket behind, suggesting he had returned for it, a sign of regularity in these visits. 6 a.m. alarm rang, heard the shower running afterward. She emerged dressed, asked if I'd been awake all night. I mentioned working on something. She glanced at my laptop, prompting me to close it. Her expression shifted from concern to recognition. She gathered her keys, mentioned errands. I inquired about their location. She paused at the door, suggesting indifference about where I was asking. She left. Checked our shared location app, watching the dot move along the highway. This wasn't the route for errands. It pointed toward his shop. I sat there, observing the steady movement on my screen, no stops, directly to his shop. I could have contacted her, questioned her immediately about where she was going. Yet I didn't crave her explanation, nor another lie I'd have to pretend to accept. Instead, I opted for something that wouldn't be easy for her to justify. I opened my theater editing software and started a new project, gathering all screenshots, stories, and saved pieces, arranging them chronologically. Timestamps inscribed on each frame, his pickup truck, his jacket, the coffee mugs, and cash withdrawals listed on a spreadsheet were all included. No music or narration, only facts. I worked for 3 straight hours without stopping, barely blinking. When completed, a 4-minute video resulted, silent, neat, with timestamps in white letters. Her own posts were employed against her. A final screen was appended, black background and white text. "Filing for divorce," set for Monday. I viewed it twice, ensuring each frame was crisp. After that, I saved it on my phone, saved it to a drive, and saved it in 3 different places. Her location showed she was still at the shop, staying there for 2 hours. I got up, paced around the apartment, stared at the studio door, the one I was no longer permitted to open. Thoughts crossed my mind, sending the video immediately or texting it to her while she was still with him. But that felt like seeking approval. Like needing her to see it before taking action, so I didn't. Instead, I launched my browser and sought divorce lawyers. Found one highly rated, hit their contact form, filled in the details, and sent it. My phone vibrated, message from her delayed, arriving home by dinner. I left unanswered. Another message came later. "Are you all right?" I responded. I set my phone screen down on the table, resumed laptop usage again, navigated to our shared YouTube channel created 2 years back, channel showcasing couples content, day-to-day life videos. I oversaw all editing while she did the talking. We amassed 15,000 subscribers, not massive but ours. I signed into the backend, observed the video queue. 3 videos ready to be uploaded, all edited by me. I erased them. Then I navigated to settings, discovered my name in co-owner position, removed myself from the channel. The screen refreshed. My name vanished from the channel. 2 years of editing every video she posted, every thumbnail, every cut, every upload schedule now left for her to manage on her own. I closed the laptop. I entered the bedroom, fetched my luggage, and began packing for a week. Included were clothes, my laptop, chargers, and the incriminating video. I closed the bag, placing it by the door. Subsequently, I sat on the couch and revisited the video one last time. Every frame displayed her cheerful visage and commentaries about sincerity and openness. In the background, there was his truck, his jacket, the evidence she herself had provided. I attached the proof to a text, entered her name, but did not click send just yet. I monitored her location, which still showed she was at the store. However, the dot on the map began moving, headed home. So I made coffee and drank it while standing. At 5:40, her car returned. She came in with takeout. Upon seeing my luggage, she stopped and asked, "What's that?" I picked up my phone, pressed send, and her device buzzed. She took out her phone, glanced at the screen, and opened the video. I observed her facial expression alter as she understood what she was watching. For several minutes, she continued scrolling through her own posts, her own timeline. The divorce notice appeared at the end. Finally, she looked up and said, "You can't be serious." I picked up my suitcase again. She barred the entrance, saying we needed discussion. I informed her that wasn't necessary. Her voice trembled with pleas. I circumvented her, walked to my vehicle. She trailed behind. With regards to the channel, I inquired. I initiated the engine. She remained stationary, phone clutched in her hand. In the rearview mirror, I observed her standing in the driveway, staring at her screen. She would understand the situation eventually. The scheduled videos and editing had vanished. The modifications were erased, and I wouldn't return to rectify it. Drove to a motel 20 minutes beyond the city limits. Paid for 3 nights in cash. Despite the room smelling of aged carpet and disinfectant, I didn't mind. By dawn, there were 17 missed calls from her, 12 unread messages on my phone. I silenced notifications and phoned the lawyer's office. The legal representative was seasoned, professional. Displayed the video, screenshots, timeline. She acknowledged and stated it was straightforward. No children or shared possessions aside from the lease. By week's end, she could file. Sign the documents. On my way back to my car, I glanced at my phone. 23 additional unanswered calls, 1 voicemail with a changed tone and softer voice. She informed me that Trevor was only aiding with content strategy. I apparently misunderstood the situation completely. She pleaded for me to call her back. I discarded the message. That night, I received an anonymous text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Trevor. Your wife has explained the incident. It seems there's been a misinterpretation. Can we talk?" I chose not to respond to the number. 2 days later, her mother phoned me. She mentioned my wife was distraught, crying inconsolably. She inquired about the situation, and I directed her to ask my wife. She stated she had already done so. My wife alleged it was an error, that I reacted excessively. I inquired if she'd watched the video. There was a pause before she asked about what video. I forwarded the video to her and ended the call. She didn't follow up. On the 4th day, I revisited the apartment during the afternoon. Her car was absent. Upon entering, I found the studio door wide open for the first time in months. The gear remained, but the desk looked pristine. No coffee mugs or jacket were in sight. On the wall were comments from followers praising her for her honesty and authenticity. Her phone lay on the desk, its screen cracked as if she'd thrown it. A note in her handwriting sat beside it, messy and hastily scribbled, "I'm staying at my sister's. Take whatever you want. I don't care anymore." I folded the note and tucked it into my pocket, then proceeded to pack the rest of my belongings, clothes, books, equipment from the closet. I made 3 trips to carry everything out. On the last trip, I paused in the kitchen. The calendar on the fridge bore her handwriting. I turned back to the day I arrived early, where she'd written T2 p.m. at the bottom. I tore that page off and added it to my evidence folder. I left my key on the counter and walked out. At the attorney's office, I handed over the note and torn calendar page. She said it was helpful. She asked when I could expect finalization. 6 weeks, maybe 8. That night, an email arrived from her no-subject line. The absence of my contribution was killing her channel. She was clueless on how to manage it single-handedly, thus pleading for my assistance. Afterward, she vowed not to resist the divorce proceedings. Closing the laptop without replying, I waited 3 days before checking her channel. She'd posted unedited footage of herself apologizing and crying, which received harsh criticism from viewers. A week later, the attorney contacted me. My wife's lawyer had sent the signed paperwork, acknowledging all terms. Intrigued, I asked if there was a catch, to which the attorney expressed surprise, stating that most cases take months to settle, but this one was progressing faster than usual. The next day, I returned to work at the theater. My stage manager inquired about my well-being. I claimed to be fine. Spending the afternoon editing sound cues provided a sense of purpose and resolution. That evening, I received a text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Jenna, your wife's sister. You likely don't wish to hear from me, yet I felt compelled to inform you that she's not in a good state. She barely eats and rarely leaves the house." I responded with those words. "She made her decisions." Jenna quickly replied, "I understand. I'm not asking for your forgiveness, just wanted you to be aware." I didn't reply back. 2 days later, I received a notification. Her channel posted new content. Ignoring my better judgment, I clicked it. It wasn't her. Instead, Trevor was in his shop office. He stated he aimed to clarify the situation. He claimed what transpired wasn't her fault, but rather he pursued her, overstepped boundaries, and exploited her loneliness. He appeared weary, almost sincere. At the end, he apologized to her, to me, and to anyone impacted. The comments varied. Some believed him, others saw it as damage control. I blocked her channel. The following morning, my phone rang, her number displayed. I picked up. Initially, there was only her breathing. Then her voice emerged softly and monotonously. She informed me she watched Trevor's video. She waited. He was deceiving me. It wasn't as he portrayed. I wasn't merely his manipulated victim. I made my decisions repeatedly. I questioned her call. A prolonged silence followed. Then she admitted she didn't want me to perceive her as weak. She knew her actions. She only didn't expect I'd uncover the truth. I reminded her that didn't justify it. She chuckled bitterly. Brief and hollow. Yes, I understood. More silence ensued. Traffic noise filled the background, indicating she wasn't at home, but perhaps in her car somewhere. The divorce papers arrived yesterday. I signed them this morning. I simply said, "Okay." After another pause, I asked if she had ever loved me or was I just another fix for her. I remained silent. Forget it. It's irrelevant now. The call ended. 6 weeks later, the divorce was finalized. Court papers arrived in the mail, signed by a judge I'd never met. I continued my work at the theater, took on additional shifts, and returned home to an apartment without a studio door or the scent of her coffee in the morning. One evening, I passed by a coffee shop and spotted someone through the window who resembled someone I know. Same hairstyle, same stance. I halted. She looked up, but it wasn't her. With my phone in hand, I unconsciously took it out, recognized I had instinctively grabbed it. Her contact information was still saved, still marked as a favorite. I erased it and continued walking. If you're the one who is still here, thank you. Now it's your turn to share your feelings below.